Today we will start the revision of our chapter Voyages of Discovery. In this chapter we will discuss the great voyages of history. The first topic is, what did 15th century Europeans believe about the world? At the beginning of 15th century, Europeans knew a very little about the rest of the world. Journeys by the land and the sea were dangerous, and travelers were attacked by the sailors and had faced through storms, shipwrecks, and diseases. Travelers also took a long time. A journey from Europe to China and back could take 3 years by land. Terrifying travelers' tales. Traders, seamen, and a few brave adventurers brought back terrible stories of lands overseas, written by William Strachey, an English traveller, about a storm at the sea which he was experienced in 1609 near the east coast of what is today the United States of America. He has written, "A dreadful storm and hideous begun to blow from the northeast, did beat all night from heaven, which like an hell of darkness turned black upon us. It could not be said to rain. The waters like cold rivers did flood in the air." Strachey's ship was wrecked, but the passengers and crew managed to reach on the shore safely. He gives an account of what people at the time thought about these islands. The dangerous and dread island, they be so terrified to all that overtouched on them, and such tempts, thunders, and other fearful objects are seen and heard about them. The next topic is strange stories. There were other stories too. If you sailed to the far north, it was said that there was a world of darkness where seas turned solid and your blood froze. To the south, the sea would boil your blood and burn your skin black. Near the equator, the sea turned into a sticky syrup. To the west, in the Atlantic Ocean, ships were wrecked by huge sea snakes. Travelers were reluctant to sail in the Atlantic and called it the Sea of Darkness. There were also stories of strange monsters, people with one eye in the middle of their forehead, and of other with one leg and foot so wide it could shelter them from the sun like an umbrella. The next topic is a new spirit of adventure. In the world outside Europe was such a strange and terrible place to Europeans. One reason was the curiosity. Today, many people travel to foreign countries to see and experience other cultures. People in the past were the same and traveled for the sake of traveling, but they had other reasons too. Number one, there was a new spirit of adventure. People were searching for answers about the world. Number second, European Christians wanted to spread their religion to the people in other lands. Number three, European merchants wanted to find a sea route to the east to control the trade routes. Since the Crusades, trade from Asia and travel routes controlled by Muslims. They charged heavy taxes, which made goods more expensive. Number 4. The rich people who paid for sea expeditions not only wanted their money back, but they wanted more treasures for themselves, foreign lands, claim for their own country, and share for future trade. Next topic is From Italy to China, the travels of Marco Polo. An important influence on travelers was a book by Italian Marco Polo. Marco Polo came from a family that had grown rich through trade with the East. In 1271, 17th years old, Marco set out with his father and uncle from Venice in Italy to travel across Asia to China. They went along caravan routes and by sea reached the court of Kublai Khan, called the Great Khan, the Mongol ruler of China. On their journey, the Polos traveled by sea route which carried them up the west coast of India. Some of the things Marco Polo wrote about India were: in southern India, the peace books were much more beautiful and larger than in Italy. On India west coast, more than 100 pirate ships worked in groups of about 20 lying in wait for passing ship. North of Madras in southeast India, diamonds were found in the mountain streams. The best were kept by the local ruler and the rest exported to Europe. Nearly 10% of Indian spices were exported. It was 24 years before Marco Polo returned to Venice. He wrote a book which he called The Description of the World, even though there were no printing presses in those days. The next topic is: why did Europeans want spices? Trade in spices were another major reason for European traveling in the 15th century. Thousands of miles by land and sea were traveled of trade in spices because there were enormous profits to be made. Things were very different in 15th century. Spices brought in India could be sold at up to 8 times that amount of Europe. At this time, Europe was developing, its population was growing, and people were getting wealthier. They had the money to buy new different things. They wanted clothes made up of brightly colored silks and cotton, which were not produced in Europe. Because of the climate, few spices could be grown in Europe at the time, and people were bored by the same old flavors. Spices from the east changed the way their food tastes, and in these days, before electricity and refrigerators, spices were also used to preserve food during the weather. Spices were also used for other purposes such as in medicine. The next topic is: why were the Portuguese such good explorers? The prince who supported explorers. Portugal, to the west of Spain, it is a small country, but in the 15th century it became an important power in Europe. This was because the Portuguese prince Henry the Navigator was interested in sailing and studied the new ways of navigation which helped his country to grow in power. Henry Navigator did not go to sea himself but set up a school for sea captains and navigators. Because of Henry's interest, many advances were made. The development of sailing ship called the caravel. Caravels were small, fast ships which moved easily through the water and could also carry cargo. Caravels all were good for exploring. The building of ships were with ruders. Advances in map making resulting from studying and copying Arab maps. The improvements of navigational instruments. All these advances helped to develop Portuguese sea trade, and by the 15th century, Portugal was the most important sea power in Europe. It had the best ships, the best guns, and the best navigational technique in the world. The Portuguese wanted a share in the rich trade with the East. In 1497, the Portuguese ruler King Manuel sent an explorer called Vasco da Gama to try open up an agreement of a trade route. He led a small fleet of 3 ships, armed with cannons and a crew of 770 men from Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, to India. Also on board were several carved stone pillars. Whenever he landed, the Gama intended to put up one of these pillars to prove that the Portuguese had got there before other Europeans. Next topic is Vasco da Gama lands in the subcontinent. On May 20th, 1498, the three Portuguese ships arrived safely at Calicut, the most important trading center of southern India. The journey had taken 10 months. At Calicut, the Gama put up one of his stone pillars. He declared to the Hindu ruler who welcomed him that he had come for Christians and spices. He meant that he wanted to do the two things. One, converted the people to Christianity and set up the trade in spices. But he failed to make a trade agreement at Calicut because trade there was controlled by Arab merchants who did not want Europeans to take it away. The Arab traders did everything they could to stop him, who soon saw that the Portuguese would never be able to control the trade unless they defeat the Arab. Vasco da Gama had taken him some gifts and trade goods, including glass beads and feathered hats, which were cheap and of low quality. Ruler of Calicut laughed at the sight of the gifts. According to a reporter at the time, Vasco da Gama bought some jewels, pepper and cloves and set off back to Portugal after only 3 months. The voyage was considered a huge success and he was become a great national hero and was given many honors. The next topic is Da Gama sails again to India. King Manuel soon sent another Portuguese explorer, Cabral, to Calicut. Cabral set up a small settlement, leaving some Portuguese people behind when he left. But the Indian ruler did not protect the Portuguese, who were massacred by the Arab traders. When King Manuel heard about this, he ordered a new fleet to be sent to Calicut to punish the Arab traders. In 1502, a fleet of 20 ships set up, commanded by Da Gama, who now had the rank of admiral. Da Gama went to Cananore, a port to the north of Calicut. Next topic is, how did Da Gama defeat the Arab spice traders? At Cananore, Da Gama and his fleet lay in wait for an Arab ship. A few days later, one came filled with trading goods and between 200 to 400 passengers. Portuguese seized the cargo and set the ship on fire, burning alive. Da Gama sailed to Calicut. His ship was fired cannons at the port. He set off back to Portugal, having seized the Calicut spice trade from the Arab. In 1524, he was being titled as Viceroy of the East. He sailed to India but died after 2 months due to fever. Next topic is Christopher Columbus discovered the New World by accident. Even late in 15th century, many Europeans still thought the world was much smaller than it really is. They knew about Africa and Asia but were ignorant about the areas that the west of the Atlantic Ocean. They did not know the American continent existed. Christopher Columbus is thought to have been the first European to sail across the Atlantic Ocean and land on the American continent. Europeans called this discovery the New World, yet Columbus did not go in search of American continent but of somewhere quite different. topic is humble beginnings. Christopher Columbus was born in Geneva, an important Italian port and trading city. Christopher had no education, became the sailor when he was 14. Soon he became interested in navigation and exploration. In 1476, he settled in Lisbon. A great dream and a big mistake. Columbus began to think of sailing west to discover a new trade route to the part of the world Europeans called the Indies, including Japan, India, and the Spices Islands. He became convinced that he could reach these lands and even the court of the great Khan of China that he had read about in Marco Polo's book. But he knew that no one would support him unless he appeared to be a learned man. However, Columbus was illiterate. There was only one thing to do. Christopher had to learn to and read and write. He had taught himself Latin and was able to read the books about geography as well as Bible. Became a deeper religious and believed that God had chosen him for a great voyage of discovery. He would enable him to set up trade routes and spread the Roman Catholic religion. Because of this, he thought that by sailing west he could reach the Indies more quickly than by sailing east. He estimated that Indies were only 4,500 kilometers, which is 2,795 miles from Europe across the Atlantic Ocean. Today we know that the Indies were in fact 18,000 kilometers away. The historic voyage begins. Columbus spent 12 years trying to get financial support for his voyage. At last, in 1492, King Ferdinand II and Queen Isabella of Spain offered to support him. They were impressed by the Columbus' strong belief that he was right. They agreed to everything Columbus wanted and even gave him a letter of introduction to give to the great Khan, ruler of China. They provided 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, which carries the leader of an expedition. The ship was quite old and run down, and Columbus was disappointed, but he dared not complain. There were more problems. Columbus could not get enough sailors. Queen promised 4 months' pay in advance to the sailor who agreed to go with Columbus, but few wanted to sail out into the unknown. They feared the sea monsters in the Atlantic Ocean. In the end, some prisoners were set off free and pardoned as long as they agreed to be sailors. On 3rd August 1492, Columbus led 120 men aboard his 3 ships out into the Atlantic. Land at last, but where is it? After more than a month, the sea sailors on the Santa Maria mutinied. He told them that the land must be near, and fortunately it was found after 3 days. On October 14, 1492, he stepped ashore after 36 days at sea. He landed on a small island called San Salvador. Believing that he reached Asia, he prayed on the beach and declared that his land belonged to Spain. He continued his voyage to discover Cuba and Hispaniola. He called the people on these islands Indian. Next, setting the New World. In December 1492, at Hispaniola, the Santa Maria was wrecked on a coral reef. Columbus built a smart fort from the wreck to house many of the sailors who wanted to get the local Indians to collect gold for them. Columbus then returned to Spain, where he presented the king and queen with gifts from the Indies: gold and amber twinkle, parrots, plants, weapons, and 6 Indians Columbus was a great hero. Soon Columbus set out to return to Hispaniola. His fleet had 17 ships and 1,200 men, including 6 Roman Catholic as well as 300 young Spanish, who wanted to claim lands in the New World for themselves. When Columbus arrived, he found that all the sailors were dead. They had used the local people as slaves, and the Indians, tired of his treatment, had killed them. Columbus stayed for 3 years. He returned to Spain in disgrace because the Europeans were angry at him that Indies was not the wonderful place Columbus had described. Many died of malaria. Columbus died in 1506, probably still believing that he had discovered part of Asia. But despite his failure, he had opened up the way for Europe exploration, trade, and the colonization settlement for foreigners of America. A great English explorer, Sir Francis Drake. The first expedition to go right round the world was led by Ferdinand in 1480 till 1521, a Portuguese nobleman who became an explorer for the Spanish. Magellan did not complete the journey as he died in the Philippines. However, after his death, his ship, the Victoria, continued the journey round the world and in 1522 arrived back in Spain after a journey of 3 years. The captain, Juan de Elcano, was a hero. The voyage was a great achievement and proved that the earth was round. Later in 16th century, Spanish Empire became the most powerful empire in the world. Spanish king was determined not only to enlarge the empire but also spread the Roman Catholic religion. England, ruled at the time of Queen Elizabeth, was the enemy of Spain. Seaman Sir Francis Drake helped to win English victories against the Spanish. Drake was a brilliant, daring, and courageous, and became the most famous English seaman of Elizabeth's age. From 1577 to 1580, he sailed around the world. Next topic is Drake set sail. Francis Drake was determined to make his living at sea. When he was a young man, he joined a fleet which was going to trade in America. In 1577, he chose as the leader of an expedition to explore the west coast of North and South America. The idea was to set up trade outside the areas controlled by Spanish. Drake set sail with 5 small ships. His flagship was the Golden Hind. A hind is a female deer, which was 23 meters long and had 12 cannons on board. Drake and the Spanish. In August 1578, after a terrible journey, Drake reached the west coast of South America. He now had only one ship of his, the Golden Hind, left. The Spanish had never seen an enemy attack in their waters before. They were unprepared. Valparaiso, in modern day Chile, Drake attacks a Spanish merchant ship. He loaded a Golden Hind with bars of gold, silver, and Spanish coins, precious stones, pearls, until she was very low in water. In 1579, Golden Hind sailed west across the Pacific Ocean to the Philippines. The Sultan and Duke made a treaty to trade spices. Drake sailed on, calling at Java before setting off across the Indian Ocean. The next topic is home again. On September 26, 1580, the Golden Hind arrived back in England only 56 of the original crew of 100 returned alive, but the ship was loaded with treasures and spices. Drake was an instant hero. He was the first captain ever sail his own ship around the world. He was the first Englishman to sail Pacific, the Indian and the South Atlantic Ocean. Let's go through the worksheet of this chapter. Number 1. Why did rich people want to go on these voyages of discovery? Number 2. Name the famous book written by Marco Polo. Number 3. Write the advantages of the caravel. Number 4. What happened to Portuguese left behind by Cabral? Please go through all these topics thoroughly. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.